Hey Canucks fans, the Vancouver Canucks defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 in a very exciting game at Rogers Arena. Here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like, and here's one other thing. I'm here with my son Sean, who was at the game with me. Sean, say hello real quick. No, you gotta come over this way.
Hello, hello.
Thank you for sitting there for the next 8 or 9 minutes. You'll be okay?
8 minutes? God.
So some things that I liked. Thatcher Demko, obviously. 51 of 53 saves. So 53 shots, 51 saves. Many of them of the spectacular variety. You know, it might be unfair, but there were many times in the game, or at least a couple times in the game, where I thought, would Jaroslav Halak make this save? And I even thought, to be fair, would Spencer Martin make the save? And a lot of times the answer was no. Toronto is so dangerous, especially in the offensive zone. A lot of cross-crease passes, a lot of one-timers. And Matthews and Marner, I got to give them props. Together, they are a very dangerous combo. But for the most part, Demko kept them at bay, only getting beaten by 2 goals, both of them on the power play, actually. So at even strength, Toronto could not beat Thatcher Demko. So obviously, I've mentioned him almost in every single Canucks win, and even in some of the Canucks losses, as the very first thing about what I liked. So that's what I liked. I definitely liked the play of Thatcher Demko. I also liked the timely goal of Juho Lammikko at the end of the second period. That was the period where Toronto had already scored 2 straight. It looked like they had all the momentum. They did have all the momentum, and that Lammikko goal came against the flow of play. But what a difference to go into the third period heading up 3-2 as opposed to a tie game 2-2 back on your heels. So I thought that was a good play. And I thought that fourth line of Lammikko and Mott and Chason played quite well, actually. Although Mott still doesn't know how to pass the puck, but he was noticeable in how much he was creating, the chances he was creating, turnovers in the offensive zone. Also like the play of the first line, obviously, with Horvat, Besser, and Miller. Besser, Miller each with 2 points, a goal, and an assist. And all those points came within the first 6 minutes of the game. So a great start to the Canucks. And that's another thing that I liked as well, was after 2 horrible starts against Arizona and then the Islanders earlier this week, they came out firing. They came out, trying to impress a very, very split crowd. And I'll get to that in a second. But overall, I thought the start was really good, and Besser and Miller and Horvat were a big part of that. Also, the Canucks out-hit the Toronto Maple Leafs. They had more blocks than them, and that speaks to kind of those hustle plays that I like to talk about. And Luke Schenn and Kyle Burrows leading the way with 7 hits apiece. That's massive, and I know that's one thing we noticed, despite the Canucks getting outshot like crazy. One thing we did notice was how hard they were hitting, and I think Schenn and Burrows were the leaders in that department. And especially you saw Schenn put someone through, well, not through the boards and through the glass, but hit the guy so hard that they had to do a 5-minute delay in the middle of the second period because he put someone into the boards and it dislodged the glass behind Thatcher Demko. Speaking of hits, Pettersson had 4 hits, I believe, 3 or 4 hits. Yes, I think it was 4 hits. He wasn't noticeable on the score sheet. I thought that line was just okay. We might as well talk about the other 2 lines. I thought that line was okay. And the Pearson Dickinson and Garland line, they were just okay as well. I think Garland was the most noticeable of those 3 players. So some things I liked, definitely it was Demko. I like Miller and Besser. I like the fourth line of Lammikko and Mott especially. And I thought overall that how hard the Canucks played, bend but don't break mentality, especially with how aggressive they were, I thought those were all things that were good, that stood out to me. Things that I didn't like, well, how about 53 shots against? That's probably, that you're not going to win a lot of games. I don't care how good Demko is, you're not going to win a lot of games that way. So, yes, bend but don't break. It can work out when you win, but it was still made for some very scary and very nervous moments. So the Canucks obviously cannot give up 53 shots a game. So that's one thing I didn't like. Another thing I didn't like was obviously how, it kind of leads to that, how badly they were outshot in the second and third periods. And the special teams, once again, did not go well for the Canucks. They only went 1 for 3 on the penalty kill, and they went 1 for 5 on the power play. So their penalty kill was only 33% effective. Their power play was 20% effective. Combine those, that's a combined CCSTS, Clay's cumulative special team stat of only 53%. So it's amazing that they go 1 for 3 on the penalty kill, they go 1 for 5 on the power play, and they still win the game. So you could say that was kind of I guess they're lucky to win with many respects with those horrible stats on special teams. I wouldn't say that any player had a really poor performance, but as I mentioned in the earlier section, there were guys that I certainly noticed, and there are guys that I didn't notice as much. Podkolzin only had 10 minutes of ice time. Didn't really notice him. I think the whole line of PD, Höglander, and Podkolzin, I was hoping to see more out of them, but so I wouldn't categorize it so strongly as I didn't like them, but they certainly weren't as noticeable. One other thing, well, this was my first ever Leafs game in person in my entire life, and 47 years old, so I joked around on Twitter that I had 47 years of booing kind of stored up, but more, I guess importantly, more relevant, the last 11 years as a season ticket holder, I've never gone to see the Leafs live. We've always sold these tickets or given them away, mostly sold them admittedly, but this is the one year that I wanted to go, and I'm sure glad I went. That was a very entertaining game, and I'm not just saying that because the Canucks won. Of course, that's a lot better. But, Sean, what percentage would you say were Leafs fans in the entire arena, honestly?
35 to 40.
You think so? Yeah, about a third, right? Yeah, so 35 to 40. Yeah, you could say, even if it wasn't that many, even if it was 20 to 25%, they were just as loud, sometimes even louder than Canucks fans. And I know that came across on TV. I was talking to Gail about it, who was watching from home as she recovers. I know that Sean and I, in the arena itself, it was pretty crazy. So crazy that even Crazy P had to change the cadence of one of his, instead of go Canucks, go, like banging the drum like that, he was actually going, but not in as good as rhythm as me, because he was trying to get everyone to make sure that they say the go Canucks go, so Leafs fans couldn't say go Leafs go. That was a very small example, but if you follow music or if you know what his chant is like, you know what I'm talking about. My point, it was a crazy atmosphere. So when the Canucks went up 2-0, it was kind of fun, all the Canucks fans pointing at the Leafs fans, having some fun, chirping them, taunting them, but in a very fun way, because we're the home team, and we should act that way. But then, of course, when the Maple Leafs scored their 2 goals in the second period quite quickly, and the tide was turning, all those Toronto, I wouldn't say they're obnoxious, but they were certainly not afraid to give it back to Canucks fans. Sean and I almost saw a fight in our section when a guy in a Leafs jersey got beer spilled on him. He turned around, he thought it was a Canucks fan, but it turned out to be his buddy sitting 2 seats over from him. I'm not sure how that happens though, Sean. How do you... Was he like... Oh, it doesn't matter. But Sean and I almost had to break up a fight. I think Sean would have done the breaking up, or he would have done the filming, one of the two. But overall, a very fun night, afternoon/night at Rogers Arena. So glad I went. So glad I was able to share it with you, Sean.
Thanks.
yeah, you seem to share my excitement. But overall, a very great game, a great experience inside of Rogers Arena, and obviously wonderful that the Canucks picked up 2 points. So tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like, tell me one other thing in the comments below, and I love to read, react, and reply as always. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member of this channel if you'd like to, or upgrade if you'd like to, and definitely leave a comment below with what you liked, what you didn't like, and one other thing. No live stream tonight. I'll be live streaming tomorrow night at 10, and of course I'm doing my Ask Me Anything vlogs tomorrow, so make sure you check out my Canadian tab and ask me a question there. Okay, friends, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great night. God bless, and go Canucks go. Thanks, Sean.